Y en el lado de esto lo que hay, tú sabes con la fiesta. Oh, shit. All right. Esto es lo que hay, tú sabes con la fiesta. Well, wait a minute for some people. Maybe I don't have no people. That's cool. You know what? Either way, we're gonna make this a really good video. I got some stuff for y'all. That's right. Okay, all right. Shout out to you. Salud. Had me a little pregame meal. I like the Fiesta wings, the flip-flop. So 6 wings, a couple of fries. I'm dieting, so not all the fries, and a Santo Libre. Tú sabes lo que hay. Shout out to everybody that got one of those, a passport, but it's not needed for Puerto Rico, porque Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. So we're gonna talk a little bit about Puerto Rico, and some of y'all might be a little antsy, so just bear with me. We're gonna talk about them. This is papitas. Papitas is what I eat instead of mangoes. So follow along. Stay with me if you will. So we got the red for the Puerto, the blue for the Rico, or you can look at it the other way. The red for the República, the blue for the Dominicana. Tú sabes como la fiesta. Esto es lo que hay. So, Rico Toro, first live. I appreciate you all. I appreciate everybody that hit me up on YouTube. Everybody that I ran into on the street showed me a little love from the YouTube. Yeah, I'm 50. I'm old enough to where I can say the YouTube, just like the Facebook and all that. So anyway, hope everybody's doing well. So Puerto Rico, you don't need one of these, but shout out to all y'all that got one. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, which means it does have some U.S. laws. Not all, but some important U.S. laws. So you don't need a passport to go there. And there is a weird thing because it is a territory. You don't pay federal income taxes if you have a job there. One reason I don't really feel, it feels weird to me calling like American stateside Black people, white people, etc., gringos in Puerto Rico, because it is technically part of the old US of A. Esto lo que hay. Sabe cómo? Yes. So, but in Puerto Rico, a couple of years ago, see, here's the story. A couple of years ago, I thought about moving there. I spent extensive time there and actually fell in love a little bit, not gonna lie. And I'm gonna talk about the dating and stuff like that there too. Because it's a little bit different. And it's not about in there, it's not like in DR, real talk, many of you know, regardless of what the situation, if you're a gringo, there's always sort of an implied financial factor to dating a Dominicana. But in Puerto Rico, not necessarily. You know, if you know, like me, a little bit better than average looking on a good day, got a little charisma, charm, like some of y'all probably got more of that than me, then you can make it happen. You can make it work for you. You know, you just gotta maneuver a little differently. It's not easy for everybody. So, you know, and let's say you visiting Puerto Rico. Let's talk about the visiting part first, because some of y'all thought, you know, about visiting. You're gonna fly into San Juan Airport, and you know, San Juan, the airport is based in Isla Verde, and then which is in Carolina technically, which is like a neighboring town, because San Juan is really right there, 10 minutes away, and then there's Old San Juan. Old San Juan is good for like wining and dining and being bougie and, you know, getting freshy fresh with your, you know, a little bit of grown man clothes like tailor made. That'd be a good place for him to go to dinner and rock his Gucci shoes, you know, and I ain't mad at all. But so Old San Juan, you know, is like cobblestone streets, and you got like a decent amount of gringos from the stateside living there. You know, a lot of finance guys and Bitcoin traders and investors. I don't really know anything about the Bitcoin thing, but you know, there's a lot of that there. So, but visiting like hotel wise, like, you know, I just checked recently and it looks like they might have came down a little bit, but you know, back like post Hurricane Maria, there wasn't no real values to be had. You know, everything then was like minimal 150 to like almost to $300 and change for a hotel. Unless you arrive there and just pound the pavement, you might find some small mom and pop stuff, which some of the stuff was dilapidated, still waiting on insurance money to repair from Hurricane Maria, blah, 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 to look at. And so other stuff looked like it was unscathed. But the best deal, the best way to go visiting Puerto Rico is Airbnb. Unless you have a contact for an apartment or something, Airbnb is a good way. It might put you in a slightly more authentic neighborhood, which that's not a bad thing because the San Juan area, it has a lot of stateside Americans living there now. And English is kind of optional, you know, in a lot of San Juan area. You get out along the coast, Rincon and you know, I'm in Caguas, which is a different town, like an hour away, you know, and Ponce, you know, it might be a little cheaper to live, a little cheaper to visit, but you're going to need Spanish. So anyway, how y'all doing? Tell y'all the story about this cup real quick. I'm not going to get too off track. So when I was packing up my kitchen, everything in the States I sold, threw away, or gave away before I started traveling and came to deal and landed in República Dominicana. So my whole kitchen, trash, everything gone. Well, I had to bring this with me because my oldest sister, she's a little goofy and sentimental. She had one of these cups and she insisted on buying me one. So even though I never used it before, I couldn't throw it away, so I felt the need to bring it. And actually, it's kind of one of my signature drinking cups here. You know, when everything was open, I could walk past security. I could tell them this story in English and Spanish, and they would give me a pass, and I walk in my own cup. It's not like an arrogance thing or an entitlement or, you know, nothing like that. It's a sentimental thing. Like every now and then I have to bring, you know, the family cup and representando esto lo que hay mi casa para mi familia, esto Santo Libre, me gusta. So, by the way, I was just crossing the street coming home a minute ago, and this southern white guy with a strong accent asked me, he just stopped in the middle of the street and said, "Is there a curfew tonight?" And, you know, I was like, I don't know, a lot of stuff's closing early, even though curfew, blah, blah. And he was like, "Wait a minute, you have a YouTube channel. I like your channel because you talk the smack. You talk the smack in Spanish." And you know what? You know, I received some kind words, a lot of love, but that to me is like the best compliment one of the best that I ever heard, you know. So anyway, back to PR. You know, it's just different, you know, and you know, I always had a good time there, you know, and I thought that it was closer to kind of, you know, not really messing up my U.S. citizenship, et cetera. That's why I thought about moving there first. But in short, everybody knows it's more expensive than DR. You know, for price point, you're looking at like $500-600 for a cheap kind of barrio apartment with not a lot of amenities. On the beach, you're looking at $1,000, you know, maybe a little more. My old homegirl in New Jersey, my neighbor, she's not Puerto Rican, but she used to work at the post office, well, she still does. She was putting in transfers for Everyday Warm. And she ended up in Puerto Rico, you know, living there. She was living right on the beach, had a 2-bedroom. And I went and stayed there like a month. And she had like this spot and she's paying at that time, 2017, 2018. She's paying like a little less than $1,000 to be right on the beach in Isla Verde. Mostly a touristy area. We're living, well, a couple of blocks away, like 700. But to me, basically for price point scale, for what you pay in SOSUA or Puerto Plata, say $300 to $500, $600 for, you're paying like $700, $800, $1,000, etc. in Puerto Rico. And then the food you're gonna spend more like eating out. Transportation, Uber. Uber is one of the best things there. Uber is super fast, 30 seconds. A lot of times it is cheap, but Puerto Rico to get outside of San Juan is really spread out, you know. And we're gonna talk about love now, a little bit of love now. So switch things up. Que la que hay, mi gente? Rico.t.toro. If this is your first time watching me, it's the channel based on real life experience, personal perspective and insight, based on personal observation. I don't sugarcoat it, I tell it like it is. And I guarantee you, I'll be buying you drinks if you come here and tell me that, well, maybe 2 drinks, not more than that. I'm not that generous. But if you come here and tell me that I'm any different in person than what you see on camera, I'll buy your drinks. You know, the thing other than, you know, the dude saying he likes how I talk the Spanish smack, you know, the other things I appreciate most is when people talk about me being genuine, you know, genuine en la corazón, tú sabes, romántico, esto lo que hay, mami, don't ask me why, mucho hombre quiero yo soy, Kyla, killing them softly. Well, that didn't land right, but you know what it is. So anyways, my old homegirl neighbor, the reason I bring her up is, well, one, I stayed in her spare room like a month, but she put me on to it's like a long game there. A lot of women there will look sort of like older dudes, but not like some sort of like pay as you go, not the papitas, you buy the chips, you know, when you want a snack. But more of a lot of them were on some like trying to get, they wanted an older baby's father, because child support was like a major source of income there, because, you know, a lot of people, unemployment is high, even with those that want to work. So, you know, I happened to fall in love with somebody that, you know, my old homegirl like interrupted me trying to, you know, do what I do. I'm talking to this waitress at this like beachside bar one day. And when I was there the last time, and my homegirl's back in New Jersey, but she just popped in for a weekend to hang out with me and crash in the spare room with a Airbnb that I had. So, you know, our meeting place was that restaurant, but she shows up and I'm already chopping it up with the girl bringing me my food and my drink. And She comes right over. The girl sees my old neighbor, Josie, gives her a hug, so it's obvious they know each other. And Josie hears me talking, and she was basically like a hater, like, you don't want to talk to this old guy. She's like, you know, you see how young she is. She's like 25, you know, so not bad, you know, appropriate, age appropriate, right? Well, that's a Matrix word, by the way, age appropriate, probably created by women in the Matrix. So age appropriate is, we'll say 21 and older. And then below that, they're really babies still. So, you know, I'm still talking, and, you know, I try to get the girl's number, and she said, no, I'll give you my Facebook, which I know, which I'm like, oh, this is some BS, this is some nonsense or whatever. I said, all right, whatever, flatter me. So she gives it to me. I wait a day or two. I message her, and I'm like, hope you have a good day. I don't say nothing else. She replies kindly. So I wait a couple days more, and, you know, I'm like, basically similar kind of thing at the end of the day, and I drop my number. She shoots me a text right away, and from there it was kind of on. And then, you know, I kind of started a thing. Basically, I'm staying at her apartment there for a while. You know, all I'm doing is, because I eat a lot, you know, take a little extra food to feed some of that every now and then. So, excuse me, I couldn't help it. So I'm just stocking the house with groceries, basically, is all I'm doing. And she's working like her 2 jobs plus going to school. And maybe I should be, but I'm not shameful to say she was working probably harder than me and more textbook educated than me. But I know some shit. I got some experience. I've been through some things, and I've been traveling. You know how that goes. Tú sabes con la fiesta. So anyway, we had a nice little ride there. So there's a lot of, I'm going to this thing here, see, there's a lot of misconceptions. The truth is, I lived in Florida, in Orlando, which is very Puerto Rican, very Hispanic. And I lived in North Jersey, which is very Hispanic. I lived in DC area, which is very Latin. And I say the difference is, when I say the Latin, El Salvador, Guatemala, Ecuador, and they're a little bit different. But the Boricua, Dominicano, Cubanos, Florida, New Jersey, New York. So, and by the way, before I ever discovered this life here, some you might call it a hobby or whatever, I've dated, been in relationships with upwards of half a dozen Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, a Cuban, and my ex-wife was Panamanian and Black. So you see, I'm a little with the exotica. So what I was gonna say though, the further you get away from New York, Dominicans and Puerto Ricans are very different in a good way. And before somebody quotes me or misquotes me and says, oh, I said all New Yorkers or all Puerto Ricans or all Dominicans or all this or that or that. Again, my personal experience and insight based on personal observation. You know, it's not, you know, and that's all it is. But to me, when you get closer to the motherland, to the islands, they're a little more, whether they need our money or don't. Because in Dominican Republic, you go to Santiago, San Domingo, or any part of the country, they don't need our money. But yet, if you walk up to somebody and say hello on the street, unless they got a man or a woman, if there's any women watching, and you approach a dude, you know, they'll say hello. You know, you say, how's your day or whatever. They won't look at you like, you're too old to be talking to me. You know, who is this creepy guy or whatever. They'll just say hello or whatever. But if they got a man, they might make a quick left and get out of there, because it could be a test to test their loyalty or something. So anyways, the further you get away from stateside, Puerto Rico, living there or trying to date there. Like, since Hurricane Maria, a lot of what most of us are interested in to date, they moved. They moved to Florida and up north. So there's just sort of more older people, some people with their families, etc. in Puerto Rico. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that there's not much of a candy store. So now we're talking about the candy store. Here we go. Here we go. Dame peso en mi pecho, te quita la pantalón. Dame peso, tienes sueño, te quita la pantalón. All right. Not gonna promise I don't do that again, whether you love it or hate it. So you talk about shit, I done lost my thought. That happens sometimes. Shit. All right. So the candy shop. Well, if you're looking for an apartment, you go on Clasificados, classifieds in Spanish. It's clasificados.com. Well, if you're looking for the candy shop, you're looking for a little bizcocho with toro, or papitas, you can go to Craigslist, and there's a lot of times there's listings like how under housekeeping and jobs wanted, and etc. But you could tell by the words, like, it'd be like massage más, tú entiendes, tú entiendes masaje más. So that's one avenue. And then the other avenue is there are like these strip clubs that, and I think a lot of them, I did kind of wander into one. There's a couple of them. By the way, work on that if y'all don't have it. If you're not able to get it, you can't come here, but you can go to Puerto Rico. So, these clubs, there might be some dancers in there, and there's rooms upstairs, and you're looking at about 150 to 200 US, because Puerto Rico is part of US, so it's US dollars, and that's what you're looking at. And when I walked in there, like, I pegged this girl for being everything but Boricua, and like she was dancing around it. And I come to figure out she's probably Venezuelan. Not that I have any problems with Venezuelans, because because I just don't. So that's a little bit about PR, and like I say, it's just different, and but not a bad place to check out at all. My interest was, like I say, it was closer stateside. It's actually further, like a flight from Orlando, a direct flight to San Juan was like close to 3 hours, but a direct flight from Orlando to Santo Domingo was like 2.5, few minutes less. So, but like I say, it's more US tied, and my thing was go there and just be closer to the home, still playing it safe. But it just turned out to be not a good idea. So I waited a year and really planned to move and came here. And now I'm gonna tell you all this, and tailor-made, shout out, respect, says a lot about the Matrix. And this was one of the few things he said he could add nothing further when I told him. I said, this was my mindset coming down here. Well, I did this move from New Jersey to Florida. And then when I came from Florida to here, when I'm clearing out my house, I'm getting rid of all of my belongings. You eventually reach a point where you're like, my address is not just changing. I'm going to a whole new life. And when I'm shutting that door for the first time, trying to make sure my apartment was in order in Florida so I could get my security deposit back, got to return the cable box, all that shit, it hit me. I'm like, I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm terrified, but it is extremely liberating. And I don't know tomorrow, I don't know 6 months from now, because I'm not retired. I'm working my job that I was working then. I'm just blessed to be able to work remotely. See, I don't know what's going to happen, but I didn't want to be kicking myself in the ass like 6 months or a year or 5 years from now. Like, well, I should have just tried and took a chance, rolled the dice while I had the chance, and it was similar. I felt a similar like moving away from my team in New York to Florida, but at a higher level, crossing the borders, having to get that stamped. Yeah. So, anyway, you got a little PR versus DR. Cheaper, financial factor with your dating is not necessarily a factor there. Here, if you're probably, I don't know, just barely 40 or a little younger, or you go to the right parts of the island, not really a factor. But you have to really like be on point, with your Spanish, with your whole movements, and that's the difference. And shout out to all you guys. I see some lines, look like some people are on here. I've said this before. I said before, email me your questions, which I think I only got 1 or 2 questions, but I pretty much addressed it. But I said basically, due to vision strains, I'm not trying to read comments or questions as we go. But shout out to you guys for participating. I appreciate that. So anyway, so it looks like everything kind of, I don't know, shutting down again, 8 p.m. ish. Like last night it just got dark. A friend of mine from Atlanta, shout out Justin, if you home safe, hopefully, and listening. I hung out with him his last night. He met me for dinner, and then we took a stroll up to the strip. Everything was just dark. And I was like, oh man. Then we went toward R&B. Before we got there, everybody saying it's closed. We kept walking. We ran into some girls that he happened to know in a car. We went over to Copacabana, closed. And last night was kind of my experience too. I find myself, of course, I'm just stupid sometimes, just saying shit. So I'm like walking, and I'm like, oh my God, mucha cosa cerrado, no bequicho todo para un poco de dinero. So, shit was just closing, shutting down. So, you know what? Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to look at some of these comments. Just bear with me. I'll be quick. By the way, I'm going to tell you the story behind the bull tattoo. But it was my business logo that used to be similar, that got my old business, a side hustle that really got me the name Toro. And then, since I was 20 years old, the Puerto Rican community was calling me Rico. And by the way, no soy Latino, pero me gusta la cultura. So just a second, I'll take some comments, see how everything's doing here. I didn't even want to try to entertain that, but so hey, yeah, man. So yeah, in Puerto Rico though, you could have like pretty good regular dating and relationships and stuff with not a whole lot of effort. It's just that the pickings are kind of slim now because everybody damn moves stateside that we would be interested in. But the people are really like good. Most of them are really good, humble, like family people. Kind of like kind of like you would meet here, like out in the Campo or up in the mountains, you know. Que la que hay, mi gente. So anyway, everything's lovely. So I'm gonna shut this down in a few. I thank y'all again for tuning in. Rico Toro's first live, and again, I appreciate all the love and everything. So so yeah, hopefully you guys back at home. Hopefully, they'll get their stuff together there and their stuff together here, and we'll be able to like be rolling, good, in like September, October, Puerto Rican and lovely, sipping on bubbly, twinkle in your eye, come give me a hug, mommy. And here's the thing, like we just don't know now. That's the thing for real. But I appreciate all the love, all the guys here on the ground, and even a couple of the YouTube ladies, send me a little side note, some encouraging words. I appreciate them as well. And so, anyways, I'm gonna sign off for now, y'all. So, stay blessed, stay peaceful, take care of your family, your loved ones, and hopefully we'll cross paths soon. Be good.